At his luxurious country estate, Anthony Stark, millionaire industrialist and inventor, prepares to depart for Washington.
The senator should be making the announcement just about now.
The senator is the same one with the loud voice who wants the secret of Iron Man's armor. As far as I know, he never came out and said it, but he wanted to mass produce it so that American troops could wear it into battle, spies could steal it so the bad guys also have it. He has it all figured out. He's making a televised announcement that Mr. Stark has agreed to testify before his committee. But that's the cool thing about television in the 60s. Anybody with a TV set could watch it.
What do you propose to do about this situation? I have already planted an agent to deal with Tony Stark. Orders are to beat the Allied nations to Iron Man's armor. That plan is now being executed.
Iron Man doesn't have many weaknesses, but the whole world knows Tony Stark's weakness: women.
That's the word I've been waiting for. Stark's precious attaché case is as good as mine. All I need do is visit the Mad Thinker.
That's Countess de la Sperosa. She's one of her country's most effective agents, especially when it comes to guys like Stark. But I'm not sure what she needs the Mad Thinker for.
Oh, that paltry sum offered by those fools behind the curtain is a mere bagatelle to me. I can hold the case for ransom to the free world for 1,000 times that amount.
And then those fools behind the curtain, as you call them, will hunt you down and do very unkind things to you. I'm surprised she's doing this since she works for them and knows what kind of people they are.
I anticipated you, dear Countess. Our plan went into operation the instant I heard the statement.
If you read some of the write-ups online about the Thinker, you'll get all kinds of backstory and such, and in 1967 we had none of that. He started out fighting the Fantastic Four, and his big thing was planning for every possibility. He could anticipate just about any move the Four made and counter it. His weapon was his brain.
A giant android. The Mad Thinker's most deadly creation.
Oh yeah, and that thing. He created it the first time he fought the FF, and fans liked it so much he kept it.
Out at last. Now if I can open my attaché case... I think! He has me!
If you have a phone in that case, you might want to call the senator and tell him you'll be late.
It's confirmed, Senator. Tony Stark has disappeared.
Bah! He's probably hiding out. He's changed his mind about testifying. Find Stark!
I don't think Stark would argue with that idea right now.
There'll be a nationwide manhunt for me, Thinker. You can't hold me here.
Dream away, fool. I'll be through with you long before you can be found.
Well, get down to business. What is it you want?
The it I want, Stark, happens to be a small item, which I'm glad you brought with you. Your attaché case.
Hold it, mister!
If you don't want him to have it, why did you hoist it up to the android and tell him to hold it? A quick football-type pass and the Thinker has the case. He can't wait to open it, even though Stark is frantically trying to stop him.
Gas! He tricked me! Me, the Thinker!
Big deal. Reed Richards tricked you the first time you guys met. It's not that hard to do. That gives Stark time to put on his armor.
Uh-oh. I should have known gas wouldn't affect an android.
Yes! The effects of your sleep gas have worn off. I'm at my control panel, as you'll learn to your sorrow.
Hey Tony, your sleep gas didn't last 10 seconds. In fact, it didn't actually put him to sleep. You might want to check the expiration date.
Tension raised. The work of the Mad Thinker. Let's see how your control panel stands up against this.
can that puny device do against my all-powerful rays?
It looks a lot like a hand grenade. Does the word kaboom mean anything to you?
It can emit a little vapor. Let's call it reflecting mist. You'll see.
The reflecting mist redirects the tension rays back onto the android.
You get the feeling that for all his brilliance, the Thinker is a typical guy. He's hung up on the size of his gadgets.
What did you do? What are those things?
Little whammies. They stick to any electrical equipment and destroy its usefulness completely.
I failed the Countess. She'll never forgive me.
So the Countess is in on this little caper.
He'll leave the Thinker to his busted machines. Pressing charges against him for kidnapping Tony Stark could get a little messy when they got into court, and he's got enough mess on his hands from the senator. He knows that the Countess is part of this plot. She doesn't know that he knows, so she just arrived to see Mr. Stark.
Please send the Countess in and tell the reporters I'll see them outside. Sorry, gentlemen, I have a pressing appointment. I'll have to see you later. My attaché case. Gone with the Countess!
He knows she's after the case, so he turns his back and leaves her alone with it in an unguarded room. Smartest person in the building, folks. The theft sparks a nationwide woman hunt with the Countess's picture on the front pages of newspapers and the whole bit. We see cops putting out APBs on her, or all points bulletins. Today they call it a bolo, be on the lookout, which is a lot easier for the average person to understand. Plus, bolo is just a lot more fun to say than apb. She knows all the tricks of the spycraft, so she's still on the run. One trick she didn't anticipate, though, is the homing device that Stark keeps in the attaché case. He's tracking it now.
Apparently, our dear Contessa has double-crossed us. She has not made contact. We must have that attaché case, no matter what they cost. This, then, will be our first opportunity to use the grapple beams.
The grapple beams do just what their name implies. They grab onto something and reel it in.
Grappling hook!
And remember what I said about television? It's the same with radio signals. Anybody tuned to the right frequency can hear them, including the homing signal from Stark's attaché case. They're scanning for it just as intensely as Stark is. The Countess has her own plans.
Hello? Yes, Senator.
Stark, this may clue you in on your stolen attaché case. I just got a ransom note. The postmark, of course, means nothing.
That's the Countess. How much does she want, Senator?
$10 million, Stark. $10 million within 24 hours.
Stark could probably come up with it, although 10 million is equivalent to almost 100 million today. But if the Countess thinks she'll see any of it, she's overly optimistic since both sides are tracking her.
Their interference is getting stronger. They're monitoring me, all right. That means I'd better get to the Countess first. It's a good thing I built more than one suit of Iron Man's armor.
For real. If he hadn't, he'd be clunking around in the old armor again.
And this is even mightier than the one the Countess stole.
So you carry the inferior one with you instead of this one because...
Of all our rotten luck, the Countess is obviously in a spaceship inside the Van Allen radiation belt.
Where did she get the spaceship? How does she know how to pilot it? And how is she staying alive in the Van Allen belts? Those bands of radiation that wrap around the Earth were one of the biggest obstacles to space exploration because the radiation is strong enough to kill a human who tries to go through them without tons of shielding. When this comic and cartoon were made, we still hadn't broken that barrier. We'd more or less figured out how to get machinery past it, but it wasn't until 1968 that humans managed to get past the radiation and orbit the moon for the first time in history. There were those who said space exploration was impossible because we couldn't get past the Van Allen belts. Basically, the intense radiation meant we're stuck here. And although later efforts proved we're not stuck here, at this time nobody knew that.
There it is, the space vehicle and the Countess. Looks like I'll have to invite myself in. Ah, my dear Countess, what is a nice girl like you doing in a place like this?
How did you get in, Iron Man? It's impossible!
Dag nabbit, why don't you tell him these things are impossible before he does them?
Solenoids, the deadliest robots of all.
You've overplayed your hand this time. Destroy him!
The solenoid on my car's starter doesn't look anything like that. They won't get much chance to fight, though, because the bad guys just turned on their grapple beam.
So the spaceship lands in a heavily guarded square.
Countess, the instant the hatches open, get out fast. I've just set the timer to blow up my attaché case and this spaceship.
Iron Man, you can't. They will kill both of us.
That's a chance we have to take.
As we know from extensive experience, nothing can withstand a baroom sound effect.
Clever, Iron Man. Very clever. You cost me the spaceship. Your attaché case has never been found.
Well, G2, to coin a phrase, c'est la guerre. Question is, why are we here?
That was going to be my question. Why didn't he get them far away from there? He had the speed, he had the confusion on the ground, and he had the Countess. As a French hippie might say, je ne dis pas.
Since you defeated our champion, Titanium Man, we have redesigned him. Final testing is about to begin, and you will be the opponent. Titanium Man, into the projectile pad.
You shall see how completely invincible I am.
Looks like he's lost some weight, too. This is the last episode of the Iron Man cartoons, and we go out on one of our favorite villains. Titanium Man's popularity was second only to the Mandarin. As one might expect, for me it was the other way around. I enjoyed the Mandarin more so in the comics than in the cartoons, but Titanium Man was my favorite. If I saw a cover with him on it, I bought it on the spot. Even a broke teenager could do that in the 60s since the comics only cost 12 cents. You could find that much in the average gutter. In fact, I think one time I did.
Aha! Look! He still stands! Triumph shall be ours!
That's because you used a bar-room instead of a baroom. When you stretch it out like that, it's not as effective. He says, you two are going to do battle over Washington, D.C.
The entire world will witness your defeat on Telstar Television.
And if I refuse?
I might add, alternative is death. My fighting squad.
Oh, right. All you have to do is wrestle that bulletproof armor off him. Good luck. I think Iron Man has his own reason for going along with this.
I can't allow it. There's nothing in it for me. I must plan.
Countess, what's this?
Bygones are bygones. I bribed your guards. Come quickly. I have a plane.
Planes, spaceships, where does she keep all this stuff?
Iron Man and the Countess stole a plane and escaped.
Oh, she doesn't keep the items. Those guys keep them for her.
We're tracking them on radar. You're to go after them.
My chance for vindication. I shall not fail.
There's a ride that'll tickle your fancy.
It's Titanium Man. You'd better use your parachute, Countess. Hurry!
You're actually letting me escape. Why?
I've more faith in you than you have in yourself. Perhaps one day my faith will be justified.
She did help him escape, although they both knew her goal was still to get her hands on the armor if she can. But he'll give her credit for trying, regardless of the motives. Titanium Man just ripped a wing off the plane, so let's let it crash into the ocean and get on with the fight.
And
And so the deadly battle swirls across the sky, directly over the Capitol itself.
He's caught Iron Man! What's he doing? He's focusing his eyebeam! It's horrible!
In seconds, your helmet will be molten ore.
To say nothing of his head. The next day, nobody could figure out how Tony Stark got so sunburned.
If I could just get my knees up and activate my power jets.
Titanium Man is like the robot in Lost in Space. His power supply is way too accessible.
He's starting to fall!
That is how you do a baroom. We won't see what happens to him, but with his suit missing a few key parts, he isn't likely to be much trouble.
He's the only man who ever trusted me. Somehow, someday, I'll be worthy of that trust.
You could start right now by going to the authorities and telling them everything you know about what goes on behind the curtain. That might be a bit much to ask of her on her first day as a good guy.
Too bad you didn't see the fight, Stark. Iron Man was terrific. I've got to have the secret of that invincible armor.
I'm glad you said that, Senator. Someday perhaps you will.
Hey, Senator. He can compel Tony to appear, but he can't force him to say anything. Considering the way the Senator has treated him, that guy is lucky Stark doesn't go to the press, lay out all the abuse and harassment, and leave the Senator looking like the villain. He'll go home to mind his own business and invite the Senator to do the same. That's it for Iron Man. He wouldn't appear in a series of his own again until 1994. He wouldn't appear in live action until long after that, thanks to the limits of technology. But through it all, in the comics, he remained a fan favorite. And he still does to this day. I'm Irving, this is Hazel, and from the bottoms of our hearts, we thank you for going on this journey with us. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did, and we'll see you in the next video.
Tony Stark makes you feel he's a cool exec with the heart of steel.
As Iron Man, all jets ablaze, he's fight and snipe with repulsor rays. Amazing armor,
As Iron Man,
a blazing bomber.
Football past type and the past type. Stark is frantically